Whiskey Hunter here. Welcome back, hunters. Thank you for joining me. Before I get started about another hunt I've been on, well, in the past, I want to send a shout out to Chad and the folks at WBSE, Whiskey, Bourbon, and Scotch Enthusiasts on Facebook, a great community, great group where chugging is encouraged. Look them up. They're great folks. We have a good time there. And also Scotch Addicts, another group I'm involved with on Facebook. Come visit us. We're always looking for Scotch and bourbon enthusiasts. I also want to mention Swami Suave with Malted in Montreal. He's on YouTube. He's got a vlog. He's a friend of mine. He has a great take on his reviews. They are funny. He's funny. And I encourage you to join him on YouTube. Malted in Montreal. So I want to tell you about a hunt that happened a few years ago. There was a time on Craigslist that you could actually find bottles at good deals. This is going back about 3 years, maybe a little bit longer. And I was, scouring Facebook in my local area, and I came across a post of a guy that had a couple bottles available. So, back then it is not like it was today where it's, everyone trying to get secondary prices. You rarely saw bottles actually. So I sent him an email. We communicated back and forth, and he was telling me that somebody from New York offered him a price on one of these bottles, and he wasn't sure about it. He was worried he was going to get ripped off. Sending and selling alcohol privately over the internet worried him a lot, and he did not really know Scotch or bourbon, and he got these as a gift. So he told me, didn't really know the pricing. And I said, I'm local. And after about, I don't know, it was about a good 7 days, 8 days, I said, why don't we meet and, we'll sit down and talk and look at these bottles, and I'll make you a fair offer. So when we talked on the phone, and he was kind of an odd bird, something was off in our conversations. He was an introvert and asked me some very unusual questions about what I do for a living, which I do disaster response and recovery on large loss, fire, smoke, water damage. And he had a lot of questions about that. So we met at a Chipotle for lunch. So I offered to buy him lunch. He wouldn't let me buy him lunch. And he just asked me a lot of questions about what I do. And he was saying that, he's interested in getting into this field, and that he's been in salvage and done computer repairs and done this and that for himself. And that he was really uncomfortable selling his alcohol on the internet. And that he would like to know if it was okay if in the future he could call me and ask me questions about my business that might affect him and what he was doing. And I said, yeah, you can call me anytime. And of course, I said he didn't really want to discuss the price of his bottles. He had 3 bottles, nice bottles. So we finish up eating lunch, and I give him my business card, and we go out to his car, and I said, do you have the bottles with you? And he goes, yeah. And he opened his trunk, and I looked at the bottles, and they were legitimate. And I said, well, let's talk about, what you want for these. And he said to me, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you be my resource? And when I have a question for you, I can call you and you'll answer it, and I'll give you these bottles. I said, you'll give me these bottles? Yes. I said, no money, nothing. He goes, no, I don't want any money. I'm worried about exchanging money on the internet. I mean, even in person. and I'd rather just trade him for future information. And I was like, well, okay. So we did that. So I want to show you these bottles I got. This is just unbelievable. I just don't think this could ever happen again. You saw the Oban 32 year I got for $73, which was nuts. Well, so the first bottle is a Knock and Do. This is a 1980 bottling. Let me put my glasses on here. So there we go. This is a 14-year-old, bottled in 94, barreled in 1980. Nice bottle. I mean, it's not a, it's older. You can find these, but hey, you know, he gave it to me for information, and there you go. He also had this bottle. This is a Century. This is by Chevis. It's a beautiful case, velvet lined. This is the Century of Malts. Comes with an unbelievable booklet. 100 malts are used to make this bottle. This was released in the mid-90s. Not that easy to find. I've never seen this in a store. And so this was the second bottle he had for me. But that wasn't the bottle that I was really interested in of the three that he had. This was the bottle I was interested in. This is a late 90s bottling, and we know how much these are going for today. Keep in mind, this was traded for future information. Let me say that he never called me. He never called me once to ask me any questions. In the 3.5 years, not once have I heard from him. Yes, this is the bottle. Macallan 25, late 90s bottling. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. So these three bottles for future questions that he never called me to ask. So, you know, Craigslist, check your Craigslist. I check it all the time. You just never know what you're going to find. I found bottles in the last couple weeks. So, there you have it. Hunt. So I want to do a quick tasting. What we have here is an Aberfeldy 21 year. This bottle has been opened a good 20 months, I'd say. Before I gassed it to preserve the whiskey from oxidizing more, it was open a year. So it's changed quite a bit in that time. I've had it sitting, as I do always, a good 25 minutes at this point. It's a beautiful gold color. Really, really nice viscosity. I know you can't see the legs on that, but the nose. This is 40%, by the way, and it's a Highland malt. Oh. It's got a light, a very light smoke. Oxidizing and sitting for a while. It's kind of, and the age has integrated it into the whiskey. When I first got this, it was very spicy. In the time it's been opened and the year that it settled down, the spiciness is almost non-existent. It's changed. Now it's it's a sweet citrus aromatic to it. There's orange orange peel, lime. There's a honey. It's a lighter honey than Highland Park. It's not even honeycomb. It's a very, very light honey. You get berries as well, blueberries. It's very fruity, very sweet now, very rounded. No spice left to this thing. Let's have a taste. It's a great mouthfeel to this, tingly. As you move it around your mouth, it seems to get a little thicker. There's sweet smoke. If you've ever burned cherry wood, the sweetness that comes off that smoke is kind of the sweet smokiness taste you're getting from this. And the smoke is it's mixed with honey. It's a sweet, light smoke integrated with the honey. The spice is non-existent anymore in the dram. The liveliness when you first open this is gone and it's mellowed out, which a lot of older whiskeys do when you've had it open a while and it gets a chance to oxidize, in my opinion. It's got a really nice creamy feel to the mouth. There's orange peel in it. Almost there's a zest, but there's like orange vanilla ice cream with berries on it. If you know the ice cream I'm talking about, where they're mixed together. There's a vanilla to it, like what's it called? Nilla cookies, the wafers, where it's got that great vanilla taste. Yet you still have the malt. It's got the maltiness to the flavor. The ABV, it's only 40%, but this feels stronger than 40%. It's a really nice dram. It finishes with a sweet cocoa, honeyness, and a faint smoke that's in the background that's been subdued through the time being open. Well, thank you for joining me. Sorry I've been gone the last week, and we'll see you for the next hunt. Keep hunting, folks. And don't forget to subscribe. I'm on, I have a blog at whiskyhunter.net. and Instagram at The Whiskey Hunter. Oh, thewhiskeyhunter.net. Have a good one, folks.